meeting of the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board. We have some folks online that are joining the call. I'm coming to you from the scene shop of Diamond Head Theater. And Beauty and the Beast is scheduled to start in about 30 minutes, so I can't be there with you as I'll be in the show. I am Chair Pro Tem Mo Radke, and one of our first orders of business in this meeting is the election of officers for our new term that lasts from July 1, 2023 to June 30, 2024.
Sure.
So, yes.
Hey, yep. Just had to swear in some members that weren't at the installation ceremony.
Okay, I'm probably one of them.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's do your worst.
Yeah, I can. Okay, sorry, 1 second. I'm just gonna do a roll call real quick just to see who's all here and who's about to get sworn in. Elena Bryant.
Excellent.
Laura Burbage, here in person. Dale Karstensen. Cecil Downing. Present in person. Neil Flatel. Say that correctly. Josh Hu. Brendan Kinoshita. Jiro Lamb.
Present.
Greg Quatavius. Cherokee.
Here.
Online. Donald Sakamoto. Person. Ali Sevier. Present in person. David Kioni Shizuma.
Present online.
Present on. Okay, thank you very much. And if you were not at the installation ceremony, you will need to be sworn in. So please either stand if you can or remain seated and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support the Constitution and laws
that I will faithfully support the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Hawaii,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Hawaii,
Charter and laws of the city and county of Honolulu,
Charter and laws of the city and county of Honolulu,
and the provisions of the neighborhood plan,
and the provisions of the neighborhood plan,
and will conscientiously and impartially
and will conscientiously and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
as a member of the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board.
as a member of the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board.
Congratulations, everybody. If you're here in person, I do have some bags up front with some forms. If you could grab it and fill it out. And also, Greg, if you wanted to sit in the front, you can, but if not, I also have a name plate over there. Yeah. Okay, Mo, take it away.
Okay, thanks very much, Spencer. The first order of business is the election of officers from that term that I had mentioned. That's July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. First officer to be elected would be president. Are there any nominations for chair of the board, not president? I
nominate Mo Radke.
Mo Radke's been nominated. Are there any others? Do we have quorum?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
There are no other nominations for president, chair. So unless, well, let's just take a vote. All those in favor, just signify by raising your hand and saying aye, please. Aye.
Chair, I'm sorry to break it to you. We got to do a roll call for this one.
Okay, do it.
Okay, Elena Bryant. And please say the name you wish to vote for. Laura Burbidge. Dale Carstensen. 2 votes, Mo. Cecile Downing. Abstain. Neil Platel. Oh. Josh Hu. Not present. Brendan Kinoshita. Not present. Adriel Lamb.
Mo Radke.
Greg Quatavius. Mo Radke. Donald Sakamoto. Holly Sevier. I'm sorry for people online. Donald said Mo. Holly said Mo. Keone Shizuma.
Mo. Mo.
And Mo Radke.
I'll vote for me.
Did I miss somebody? We only have 8. We need 9.
No, that was, I think that I counted 9.
Elena's not online. Joshua, Brendan, Holly. Well, Holly said no. Okay. Yep. Congratulations, Chair Rick.
Thanks. Moving to the next elected position, that's the position of vice chair. Are there any nominations for the position of vice chair?
I nominate Adriel Lamb.
I second that. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing no other nominations for vice chair, the Spencer will take a voice vote.
Elena Bryant. Laura Burbidge. Adriel. Dale Carstensen. Adriel Lamb. Cecile Downing. Abstain. Neil Flatel. Adriel Lamb. Josh Hu. Brendan Kinoshita. Greg Quatavius. Adriel Lamb. Donald Sakamoto. Holly Sevier. Keone Shizuma.
Adriel Lamb.
Mo Radke.
Adriel Lamb.
And Adriel Lamb.
Adriel Lamb.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Are there any nominations for the position of secretary? Nominations for the position of secretary?
I nominate Laura Burbidge.
I didn't hear that.
I think
Donald second.
I nominate Laura Burbidge.
Okay, got you. Laura Burbidge has been nominated. There's a second. Is there any other nominations for the position of secretary? No other nominations? With only one nominee, we'll conduct a voice vote.
is Elena Bryant online? Laura Burbidge. Oh, no. Sorry, should have went last. Dale Carstensen. Laura Burbidge. Cecile Downing. Abstain. Neil Flatel. Josh Hu. Oh, I'm sorry. Neil voted for Burbidge. Brendan Kinoshita. Adriel Lamb.
Or Burbidge.
Greg Quatavius. Mo Radke.
Laura Burbidge.
Donald Sakamoto.
Laura Burbidge.
Holly Sevier. Keone Shizuma.
Burbidge.
Congratulations, Laura.
And finally, the nomination for the position of treasurer. It's not like you'll be handling any funds. The neighborhood commission handles the funds. Spencer, does our treasurer do anything other than just read the report that they're given?
So
And
the treasurer.
I was going to say, yeah, off the top of my head, they read the treasurer's report that's provided by the neighborhood commission office. They don't have to do any math. And if we decide we're going to buy shirts or something like that, the treasurer just works with the neighborhood commission to, support that. Help that process along. Is there anything else that I'm missing?
No, you're correct.
All right. Are there any nominations for the position of secretary?
Second, treasurer. Would like to nominate myself, Donald Sakamoto, for treasurer.
I would second that. Are there any other nominations for the position of treasurer? No other nominations? Was there another nomination? No other nominations? We'll take a voice vote.
Elena Bryant, Laura Burbidge, Sakamoto, Dale Karstensen, Sakamoto, Cecile Downing, abstain, Neil Flatel, Sakamoto, Josh Hu, Brendan Kinoshita, Adriel Lamb,
Donald Sakamoto.
Greg Vitovith, Sakamoto, Mo Radke,
Donald Sakamoto.
Holly Sevier, David Shizuma,
Sakamoto.
and Donald Sakamoto.
Donald Sakamoto.
Congratulations, Donald.
Congratulations to all the new officers for the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board. At this time, I'll need to pass my leadership off to Vice Chair Lamb. I have to get into costume. The show starts in 15 minutes and I'll be in big trouble if I'm not at my place at the proper time. So I just want to make a quick mention before I roll off is that we have a 17-member board. That means 9 people have to vote in the affirmative for something to pass. And I want you all to keep that in mind as we move forward with anything that we may have to talk about here. For example, there are a couple more things we'll need to vote on. For example, the meeting determination and location. And there'll be just enough people when I leave for something to carry. So if one person abstains, then whatever it is that we're talking about is not gonna pass because we won't have enough people. That is unless somebody else logs in from the board or somebody comes to Ben Parker. I wanted you to be aware of that. And so thank you very much. Appreciate your support of me to be able to lead the board for the next year. And I will see you next month. Adriel, she's all yours.
All right, thank you, Chair. Thanks for squeezing this in here. Break legs out there.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the board business is filling of vacancies on the board. Like Chair says, we have 17-member board. We already have 4 vacancies within the board here. Is anyone in attendance that would like to fill these vacancies? The vacancies are in Subdistrict 2, Subdistrict 7, Subdistrict 8, and Subdistrict 11. Hearing none or seeing none, we'll move on to next board business. Next item on the agenda, item number 4 is city monthly reports. We'll start with Honolulu Fire Department.
Hi, good evening. Captain Count, Kaneohe Fire Station. Here's the incident statistics for June 2023. Thankfully, no fires. We had 5 activated alarms, 142 medical calls, and 5 motor vehicle collisions. The fire safety tip for the month is grilling safety. Keep these tips in mind as you enjoy summer events and activities with family and friends. Always use barbecue grills outside, away from doors, windows, vents, and other building openings. Place the grill well away from siding and deck railings and out from under eaves and overhanging branches according to the manufacturer's instructions. Keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from cooking areas and keep starter fluid, lighters, and matches out of children's reach. Cook with caution, be alert, and stay at the grill while cooking. Never leave a hot barbecue unattended. Light a propane grill only with the cover open. If the flame on the propane grill goes out, turn the grill and gas off, wait at least 5 minutes, and then relight. Periodically remove grease and fat buildup in the trays below the grill so it cannot be ignited by a hot grill. Let the coals completely cool before disposing in a metal container. Never empty coals directly into a trash can. Do not store or use a grill on a porch or balcony, including any porch or balcony on an upper level of a building. Always store propane gas tanks outside of buildings or garages. Remember to properly inspect and maintain the tank, fittings, and tubing according to the manufacturer's instructions. Vapors leaked indoors can be easily ignited by pilot lights or electrical equipment, causing an explosion. Do I have any questions tonight? Done? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. If there are no other questions, let's move on to HPD.
Good evening. I'm Officer Jared Atkins of the District 4 Community Policing Team. The stats for this board meeting for the month of June, there was 1 motor vehicle theft versus 5 the previous month. There were 4 burglaries in June versus 4 the previous month. There were 17 thefts in June versus 14 the previous month. There were 2 car break-ins in June versus 8 the previous month. And there were 0 robberies versus 0 robberies for the previous month. And then I also have the stats compared to last year. So last year in June, so there was 1 motor vehicle theft last month versus 3 the year prior. There were 4 burglaries last month versus 9 burglaries the year prior. There were 21 thefts last year versus 17 this year. And there were 9 car break-ins last year versus 2 this year. So I can take any questions or concerns from anybody if you have any.
Thank you for the report.
Yeah, any questions from the board? Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Yeah.
Sakamoto.
Sako, I have a question. My question is about the crime mapping. I didn't like, I went to the crime mapping website, enter my address and zip code, but still can't be able to do the records. Forward email to Mayor Bellangiati, Managing Director Mike Quanby, Chief of Staff and on this situation. Response I got back from Chief Mike Quanby was he was going to send HPD notified him with the department information. Still haven't heard that. Concerning the H3, numerous times at this meetings, I requested for date, times, as well as location of the citations, everything. Still haven't received them. Then on the issue with the 312 new procedure of having officers are off on certain days and reference. How the 312 going to affect us in the community about with these presence with the 312 ship.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. Can anyone else hear him online? Yeah, you're severely broken up.
Question was about the 312 ship. How would that affect our community? And in the past, I brought up about the H3. If I can get dates, times, and locations where the event occurred, citations. And then about the crime mapping. As a legally blind person, I could not access the crime map to view the area of criminal action. That's it.
Okay, so as far as the 312s, we're already operating on 312s. District 4 has been the pilot district for that, so we've been doing it for months already. So it actually boosted our staffing by a little bit. So it's not really affecting, there hasn't really been any changes. We're having the same amount of officers filling the beats as we've had prior. So as far as Kaneohe goes, there's no change. It's been like that for months, and like I said, it boosted our numbers from when we weren't operating on 312s. And then I heard a little bit of the crime mapping. You were kind of broken up about how you can get it because you're legally blind. If that's the correct question, I'd have to check on that. If I don't know if you could like come to the station and get more, crime mapping statistics or something like that. I have to check on that. So I'll get back to you on that if that was your correct question, kind of broken up. And then I'll check on the H3. You were asking about getting the exact times and locations of citation number or when citations are issued. So I can check on that. That may be a little difficult for us because not only is District 4 officers issuing citations on the H3, there's also the traffic division. So I'd have to check with them, but I will check on that and see how that's going. Hopefully that answered your questions. Like I said, I didn't hear the entire part of it.
Yes, if we can check with Lieutenant Michael Campbell of Traffic Division. I dealt with him before, so been trying to get a hold of him. Hasn't responded back.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Laura Burbidge here. Just wanted to know
Hi,
if there's
Laura.
been an uptick in fentanyl use or more drug use in the community.
You're asking if there's been an uptick in fentanyl use. So documented that it's on the rise. Undocumented from what I'm seeing on the street, absolutely there's a very big increase. But it's not documented. It's I'd have to check on the exact numbers.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board members or the audience in attendance? If not, thank you, Officer Atkins. Thanks for the report. Looks like we had some downturn on some of the statistics. So credit to you guys for just some good work and adjustments you've made.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right. Let's move on to next Marine Corps Base, Hawaii.
Vice Chair, Board, Member Community, Online person, Major Jordan Fox. Marine Corps spokesperson for Marine Corps Base Hawaii. Mark Vendetta. Brett.
Could you speak into the mic more directly? It's coming in broken up. Thanks.
Better? That's too much. Okay, sorry. All right, so just a couple of announcements. Over this past weekend, we co-hosted the John D. Capico New Regatta. So to the community, thanks for showing up and supporting that event. It was great. Fostered a competitive spirit, and I think our competitors had a great time. A quick reminder that over this weekend, there are some F-18 jet aircraft transiting the air station as they maneuver around the Pacific. So you might notice a temporary increase in noise over the weekend, and that's scheduled to end on 22 July. And lastly, I've been made aware, I want to take a moment just to address some misinformation about the MQ-9 remotely piloted aircraft that we now have home based at the installation. I want to reaffirm that these aircraft will not be armed and that the purpose is unlike what they were used for in the global war on terror in the Middle East, which was, kind of hunter killer and armed missions to support that effort. These aircraft are specifically built for long range intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance away from the Hawaiian Islands. So the majority of their flying will be done over the water and away from the continental and extended US, so Alaska and Hawaii. And that's to gain maritime domain awareness and send that information back so we're more aware of what's going on across the Pacific. And pending any questions, that's all I've got for Marine Corps Base Hawaii tonight.
Question from Mr. Sakamoto. Thank you for giving that report, sir. Former Marine Corps Community Services employee. Just want to ask about the gas lanes next to McDonald's by Firestone. It's been closed for a long time. Just was wondering what happened with that. And then concerning the helicopter crash a few years ago, where 2 helicopters crashed at the North Shore. I still haven't heard anything. What was the outcome of the investigation? Is it still under investigation or is it finished? That's all.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. I know the gas lanes are still down. They've been down for quite some time for some fuel tank maintenance, I believe. I'll check on that and get you a date and kind of a timeline on when they're expected to be back up. As far as the crash with the CH-53s, I think it was 2016. I do not know the answer, but I will find out for you. I believe the investigation is closed, but I'll get it to you. I'll get you an answer.
We appreciate it. Hoorah. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board members or from the audience? If not, thank you, Marine Corps Base Hawaii.
Thank you.
Next up, Hawaii State Hospital. Do we have someone from Hawaii State Hospital here? Not moving on, let's go to the Department of Transportation. Lee Nagano, I think you're on.
Yes, hi, good evening, Vice Chair and members of the board. My name is Lee Nagano. I'm here for the Hawaii Department of Transportation to provide a response to inquiries made by the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board regarding the rectangular rapid flashing beacons or RRFBs at the Pearl Highlands Station and Kahaluu Roundabout. The DOT will install RRFBs at the raised crosswalks at Pearl Highlands. The DOT also plans to install RRFBs with the audible message and a button with the noise locator at the Kahaluu roundabout project. The roundabout project is expected to be completed in January 2025. Also regarding noise, the legislature approved a bill to allow the DOT to conduct a noise enforcement pilot program. For this pilot program, we are planning to include H3 and Waikiki, where we've received a lot of noise complaints. Additionally, the DOT recently concluded a 2-month speed data collection project, which included H3. We will share the results as soon as we receive the report. And that was all I had.
Any questions?
Question, Sakamoto. Regarding the repavement of Kamehameha Highway from Castle Junction to, I guess, Woodward City Shopping Center, I brought up a concern about the drainage past the poly golf course going towards Castle Junction. It's like a river when it rains there and cars can hydrofoil. So can you express my concerns to Robin Shishiro and the rest of the gang at the DTO for my transportation? Yes, thank you.
Yes, I will express your concerns. Thank you.
Any other questions? I guess I would just want to follow up with, you know, we got the crosswalk on Kamehameha Highway. I believe it's Pahia Road that we've been trying to get something like what you've mentioned, the RFID for crosswalks. I know we got, like it's subsumed underneath another project, and then it got delayed just because that larger project was also delayed. So I guess if you can, you know, I saw this happen with the on the recent UMPO meeting where we had a project out of Makakilo that was a standalone project, but then it got combined with other state projects, and there was, you know, significant, you know, protest from the Makakilo neighborhood board member on putting that underneath another project. Could you kind of, I don't know if you have that answer right now about the one in Pahia Road, but could you follow up on that and see where that is for a crosswalk there?
I'd be happy to follow up. I'm sorry, where on Kamehameha Highway?
This is right, I believe it's called Pahia Road. It's right by Kaneohe Market. It's between William Henry Road and Kauipa. And it's a long stretch of between two stoplights, and there's a crosswalk there that's kind of, it's almost like hidden because it's right after a crest in the road. And so once and you see the sign before the crest, and you're thinking it's coming up, and then you don't see the crosswalk, but then you're right on the crosswalk. We've had pretty lot close calls there before. I don't think we had a fatality just yet, but that's always been a concern for the community.
Of course, and an RFB was requested. Is that correct?
I believe we wanted something like that as a crosswalk, at least some kind of mitigation to slow traffic down.
Okay, I'll check on that. Okay, and you know, I'm sorry, going back to the H3 speed data collection, I forgot to mention that the Honolulu Police Department traffic division was staff were included in those informational meetings, and they will also receive a copy of the report.
Laura Burbidge here. That Pahia Road crosswalk, I believe there were several deaths. I don't know how long ago, but we've been asking for that crosswalk since I've been on the neighborhood board. Now I'm going on to my 8th year. And it was already in the process when I came on as a neighborhood board member. So we were wondering too, what about a speed hump? Like they have all on Kalihi Road. Wouldn't that be faster to just put something in? We've been waiting a very long time for this, and hopefully no tragedies. And then another thought about the roundabout that's going to be constructed. Are there going to be lanes that are set up all around that area so that traffic can still flow? And why is it going to take so long? Thank you.
All right, I'll follow up on that as well.
Okay, any other questions for Department of Transportation? If no other questions, thank you. And let's move on to next item. Item number 5 is determination of date, time, location of our neighborhood board meetings. Spencer, do you see your hand up? Do you need to interject here?
Yeah, hey, Adriel. I was just going to ask Elena if she was present for the installation ceremony or if she's been sworn in yet this term.
I was not. I was off island for work on the date of the installation, so I still need to be sworn in.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll just read it off to you and then you can just respond, I confirm, or I agree. So please raise your right hand and repeat after me. You can keep yourself muted if you want, so we don't get feedback. I solemnly swear that I will faithfully support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the State of Hawaii, the Charter and laws of the City and County of Honolulu, and the provisions of the Neighborhood Plan. and will conscientiously and impartially discharge my duties to the best of my ability as a member of the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board. You accept?
I accept. Confirm.
Congratulations. Yeah, so Adriel, we can move on, and we don't need to do voice votes with this. We can do unanimous consent if there's no objections.
Okay, so the county neighborhood board has been meeting on the third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. And this is our first time back to in-person meeting at the Ben Parker Elementary School. Are there, before I open up for discussions, I guess, we can keep the same time and date and location, but if there's any other discussion on moving it or recommendation for moving it or the location, that's open up for any discussion. But if not, if there's no other recommendations, is there a motion to keep our time?
Quick question, if I
Yes.
may.
Go ahead.
Adriel, is 7 o'clock late for anyone else? Or am I just a very old lady over here? I wouldn't mind if it was 6 or 6:30, but I appreciate that some people work later than I do. So just putting it out there. So I'm seeing Laura, is that a no late? Yes.
Earlier time frame for me is fine.
Spencer, is there any issues with your staff? Definitely 6:30 would work.
Uh, 6:30 is good for me too.
Sounds like there's,
I agree. Sakamoto agrees with me.
sounds
Will-
like a consensus on 6:30. Is there a motion to have our meetings to be at 6:30 on third Thursday at Ben Park?
Sakamoto motions.
I actually have a question. Is there still going to be like a hybrid option, or is it going to be only in person? Because if it's only in person at 6:30, that'll be difficult for me. But if I can come a little bit later, that should be fine.
I believe that is the intent to be set up for hybrid. Spencer, if you can confirm that,
Yes, confirming that.
right? Okay, Mr. Sakamoto's motion for 6:30 at third Thursday at Ben Parker. Is there a second? Yeah, if there's no objections, can we say the motion is approved? Motion is approved. Now let's go on to item number 6, determine board recess schedule. So this is that I believe we're allowed to have 2 recesses per year as part of the board schedule. Typically, we've had December as a not necessarily recess, but more of a potluck where we just have a reports without the regular process that we have in December. And typically during the month of June, it's usually the end of the fiscal year or the end of the kind of legislative calendar, or for our intents and purposes, the board is be 1 year, and especially in 2025, or 2024, it'd be the end of the election year for the board members. So it's typically we do recess on June and then have something at a sort of a lessened or abbreviated schedule for December. Any other comments from the board members?
Mr. Sakamoto would like to request if you have July off. Not June, July instead of June.
Okay, the recommendations for a June recess, and I guess with the exception of being the election year, that will be back in session. So that wouldn't apply for us in 2024. But any other discussions? Okay, so is there a motion to recess in the month of July with a abbreviated schedule in December? Guess is there no motion to have a recess schedule?
I motion to have the abbreviated, I guess, schedule for December. I missed the reasoning why we'd want it a recess in July.
Okay, so the motion is for abbreviated schedule in December. It's you can go ahead with the motion and into discussion if there's a second for the motion.
Adriel, second.
Okay, motion is for abbreviated schedule in the December, as in seconded. In discussion.
Adriel, may I ask, is July in place for consideration for recess during the summer?
It's usually a
Did not
recess,
hear a motion, that's it.
right, for discussion. I mean, I think the recess was typically the attendance drops off in June and July, so we usually just have a recess for that month, which we did in this past June. But doesn't stop us. I mean, I think we might not make quorum, which we haven't made for a couple meetings. That's probably the main purpose of scheduling a recess, but we can still continue to schedule meetings without the quorum of the members.
Okay, Sakamoto, motions to accept July.
I would second that.
Okay. Okay. I guess is that amendment to the motion? So we have a motion for abbreviated December's meeting and then a motion to recess in July. And that's been motion and seconded. Any discussion, any further discussions? If no further discussions, any objections?
Just a question. That's July instead of June, or is it June and July?
It's July instead of June. Any objections? If no objections, motion's approved. Okay, next item on agenda is adoption of oral testimony rules. I do not have anything out on this unless there's already something on the books. I think typically we have a 3-minute rule, but it's not a hard, fast rule. It's depending on the content and the questions coming from the board members on the testimony. And Spencer, is there anything you need to add to this, or anything you need specific to this oral testimony rules we need to add?
If somebody could have a motion to retain the same rules of speaking.
Mr. Sakamoto motions.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Discussion? Any discussion? No discussion? Any objections? Without objection, motion's approved. Okay, let's move on to committees, subcommittees, and membership. This is about having committees within the board and also constituting subcommittees under the board. Currently, we have A through N, it's like 20 or 14 committees on the board. We have names assigned to it, as you might see on the agenda, and some vacancies in some of the committees. But as a matter of as a matter of the boards, I guess maybe we can start entertaining a motion to accept the committee, subcommittees, and membership as is for now and move on to discussion. Is there a motion?
Mr. Sakamoto motions.
Second.
A motion is made and seconded. Going to discussion, any discussions on the makeup of the committees, subcommittees, and memberships?
Vice Chair Lam, this is Dale Carstensen. I would like to request if I could join the HPT liaison, which just joined vacant along with Donald Sakamoto. And then if I could go to the emergency preparedness committee, that would be all right with the board.
Okay, we have the discussions to add some members. Any other discussions on the committee?
Chair Lam, Mr. Sakamoto would like to be a liaison on the transportation committee with you and whoever else is on there.
Right. Any other discussions?
This is Neil Flytel. I'd like to become a member of the Military Affairs Committee and the Environmental Committee.
Any discussions? We still have a vacancy on the state legislative committee. Okay, if there are no other discussions, thank you for those who volunteered to sign up for these committees. Is there?
Hey, Shizuma, I have a question. I just was curious, how do I see that online? The members in these boards?
They're on the agenda. So if you go to, I guess, page 2 of the agenda, the agenda would have.
Oh, I see it. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so let's. I guess I haven't called for a question before, but is there a call to question? That means to ask for a vote on the committee membership and subcommittees.
So the motion is to accept the committees as is, plus the additions that were just stated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So if we need a motion, then I motion. If it's just a call for a vote, then I would ask for that.
Okay, there's a call for a vote.
Second by Sakamoto.
Okay, let's go on to vote then. Any objections? Without any objections, I believe the committee, subcommittees, and members have been approved. Right. Thank you for discussion. And your volunteering for the committees. Item number says 11. It should be item number 8. Resident community concerns. It's time for residents to have time on the mic, 3 minutes each to express their concerns. Are there any community concerns out there? Okay, I see a hand up with Robert Armstrong. Anyone else in the audience? I can't see the mic on the audience, but let's go ahead with, I see 2 hands up, Robert Armstrong, Jack James. Go ahead, Robert Armstrong.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lamb. My name is Robert Armstrong. I'm from the Downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board. I'll be very brief tonight. And I just want to say hello to everyone on the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board. Congratulations on your appointments, and to the community at large. And to make you aware of an upcoming meeting on the 19th of August. That's a Saturday, 19th of August at 1 p.m. It's at 1152 Smith Street in Chinatown. That's the old Channel 14 studios, which is now New Life Center. And in case you're concerned, there is a city garage right behind the building off of Veritania. So getting in and out is pretty easy. vacancy. And the concept of the meeting is to reinvigorate, revitalize, and reimagine the neighborhood board system. It's been some 15 years since this island has had a top to bottom look at the neighborhood boards, its jurisdictions, the neighborhood plan, and how specific it is, the neighborhood commission office, the way elections are run, the neighborhood commissioners, and so on. And so we thought we would start the process on the 19th of August, that's Saturday at 1 p.m. at 1152 Smith Street. The meeting is open to everyone on the island. It's got to be a grassroots start, meaning that we're not going to have a whole lot of structure. We're going to talk about and brainstorm what we would like to see. And I have no naive thoughts about how long this is going to take, probably well into a year. But at the end, we'll have a white paper for the neighborhood commission to adopt, and then a report for the city council. So hopefully at the end of the process, we will have a stronger, better, more vibrant, and more useful neighborhood board system for everyone. That's my intention. That's our hope. And I sure hope that everyone will come and participate on Saturday, 19th of August, 1 o'clock at 1152 Smith Street. We'll get the process going then. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Could you, I guess, have you sent the details to by email or by correspondence?
To your neighborhood, is that what you're asking?
Right.
I can certainly put it in the chat, but you are the last of all. I've been to all 34 neighborhood boards, and so there's actually 33 plus the neighborhood commission, so 34. And I'm happy to put it in the chat, but there'll hopefully be some press about it come the month of August to remind you again. But I thought being in person, well, or to be online or WebEx, was at least an outreach that I could do to try and get all sectors of our island participating.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And
Sure.
it's the first time
Thank
we're
you.
here, so coming here, so to have it on paper so I can let others know. Thank you. Let's go with Jack James next.
Good evening, Vice Chair Lamb and board members. And Spencer, just a comment to you first, sir. The audio in the Kaneohe board meeting is the best that I've experienced in all the neighborhood boards that I've been to recently. Whatever you're all doing with the handheld mics or whatever is really doing well for those of us online. And Spencer, I just wanted you to know that. My name is Jack James. I'm the founder and CEO of Honolulu 7 Recall. Our organization was created July 1st. We are a political action committee dedicated to the removal of 7 Honolulu City Council members and under the city charter, there's no requirement to have a why to recall someone. However, we have several whys. The most outstanding why is the recent pay raise of 64% increase. In the 38 years that I've lived on Oahu, no single event has raised as much rancor and ire in the population of the island of Oahu than this single issue. And daily, I'm receiving between 38 and 42 telephone calls. We're now into the 20th day, and I've averaged 40 phone calls a day. Our database is, our largest single day has been over 400 people added to our database. So at any rate, we're going to be in your neighborhood. We want to be good neighbors. You will see us visibly. I'm going to be at your neighborhood board meeting every month, or one of our leadership team from Kaneohe will be. In case you have any questions of what Honolulu 7 Recall is doing, you'll be able to ask one of us. I've left my information in your chat. Vice Chair Lamb, you can reach out to me. I'm also doing presentations on agenda for several of the boards that's available to you all as well for you to find out more about what we're doing. I appreciate the time tonight to let you know that we will be actively recalling and working toward that with the District 3 City Council member. So thank you so much, sir. I'm available for any Q&A. I could not hear you, Vice Chair Lamb.
Oh, thank you, Mr. James. I do see your information in the chat. Okay. Any questions for Mr. James? If not, I do see Mr. Wheeler who's got his hand up. Go ahead, Mr. Paul Wheeler.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and thank you to the board and to the Kaneohe community. My name is Paul Wheeler, and I'm here. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, I'll assume that you guys can hear me okay. I'm here from the Aloha State Bicycle Racing Association and Out of Bounds Hawaii to let the community know that we'll be holding our annual Dick Evans Memorial Road Race on Sunday, August 27th. The race expects under 100 participants, and we pass through the Kaneohe neighborhood. Some riders are expected to be in that area between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. But the total time span of the race is from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. And we enter Kaneohe on Kahekili Highway, and we'll be going left on Like Highway, but we use a couple of side streets in that before that intersection. We use Kulu Keoe, Kaneke Street, and Anoi Street. There will be signage in this entire area indicating the route that the bicyclists will be taking, and we will also have police and at those intersections. Riders are directed to respect the rules of the road and to yield and obey traffic rules as appropriate. The event is permitted through the City and County of Honolulu and USA Cycling. And it's open to the public, and we put this on as a service to the community to provide an opportunity for physical activity and athletics for the community. And more information can be found on our website, asbra.org, and I'll put a link to that website in the chat. And that's asbra.org for anybody on the phone. And I'd like to thank the community for supporting bicycle racing on the island of Oahu. And if there's any concerns, I'd be happy to try and answer them and or communicate them to the race committee.
Any questions out there? I guess I have the question. Could you repeat the name of the race and what are the participants and what's the distance for this?
So this is the Dick Evans Memorial Road Race. We've run this annually for a good number of years. Previously, it was the Around Oahu race before it was renamed in memory of Dick Evans, local cyclist. And the total distance of the race is 112 miles. We start and end in Hawaii Kai, or Kalama Valley, to be precise. And it's a clockwise circuit of the eastern half of Oahu. Our participants, it's open to the public. It's not a professional race. It's an amateur race, so anybody who would like to participate is welcome to. And we generally get between 70 and 100 participants.
Great, thank you. And the date for that again is?
Sunday, August 27th. And I did see a hand raised for Hawaii Bicycling League. I don't know if that was a question for me or also on the agenda. Raising their hand to present.
Okay. Okay, if there are no other questions, is there members in the audience who have resident concerns too? If there are no members in the audience for resident concern.
Mr. Sakamura, I have a concern.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Sakamoto.
Okay, there's issues in Waimanalo, I heard, for fire ants and coconut rhinoceros beetles. And I urge people who do buy plants or anything from Waimanalo area, be careful about the fire ants because they can spread wildly. And these things really hurt when they bite. And for many years now, well, not many years, I think it was about a year and a half, we had somebody from Complete Streets, Renee SPL from the city, talk about our repaving and doing our whole complete sidewalks here in Kaneohe. I'm very, I would like to know when are they going to do this and where, how they going to do it. Are they going to come to the board and present the designs and whatnot so people get feedback? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sakamoto. Let's move on to the next item on the agenda, item number 9, elected officials. 2 minutes each. Let's go with our state level officials with one from Representative Kuda's office.
Hi, good evening. My name is David Taga. I'm from the office of Congresswoman Jill Tokuda. She sends her congratulations to the newly elected board members and the officers of the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board. 3 very quick things. First, our office is now accepting applications for those seeking a nomination to one of the military academies. The deadline is October of 2023, so applications are accepted over the summer. Representative Tokuda recently launched the Congressional Bipartisan Rural Healthcare Caucus, which is focused on promoting and advancing healthcare solutions in our rural communities. One of her priorities is about access to healthcare and mental health services, especially in our rural and remote communities. And finally, constituent services. Our office is here to help anyone that needs assistance with a federal agency, such as passports, social security issues, veterans benefits, etc. Please call us or visit our website, tokuda.house.gov. You can fill out a form, help with a federal agency, and our caseworkers and staff are here to assist you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, on the agenda, we would go with Governor Green's representative before we take questions, both the congressman's and governor's office. Is there a representative from the governor's office? If not, any questions for Mr. Taiga?
Mr. Sakamoto, Chair.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you,
Sakamoto.
David. Thank you, David, for coming. I have 2 issues concerned. Representative Kuda went to Taiwan recently and the Pacific Basin with other representatives to see what is going on with the Chinese situation. Kudos for her to doing that. But what is the strategic plan for the U.S. Congress to keep us?
I believe we lost contact with the neighborhood board there, so please stand by. Mr. Sakamoto, can you hear us? Mr. Sakamoto, can you hear us? We've lost audio with you, or you lost connection there. Yeah, could you repeat your question again? I think we got disconnected there.
Okay, concern the Representative Kuda going to Taiwan recently with other delegations in Congress to see what's going on with the China conflict and the Pacific region. What is the strategic plan for the U.S. Congress to ensure that our safety here in the Pacific realm? Very worried about our adversary in China. And then also the debt ceiling. How are we faring well with that? I'm very concerned about a debt rising to trillions and trillions of dollars. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Mr. Sakamoto, maybe I'll address the debt limit agreement. Representative Tokuda did fly back to DC, I believe it was in June, for that vote on that agreement, on the debt limit agreement. On your question about she was part of a congressional delegation from the House that did go to various countries in the Indo-Pacific region, including Taiwan and others, such as the Philippines, Guam, and Japan, and I believe Okinawa as well. As far as a strategy, I don't want to get too far ahead of what I can say, but the delegation was intended to, as Rep. Tokuda has said in her announcement about the delegation, it was intended to affirm the U.S. commitment to peace and security in the Indo-Pacific. And that was the purpose of the delegation.
Okay, thank you, David.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for the Congressman's representative?
Chair, I have a question for the governor, if I can, for the record.
Okay, go ahead. Governor's rep.
Yeah, Mr. Sakamoto, I read in the paper or on the news about the governor's proclamation, emergency proclamation to build affordable homes and whatnot. I attended a Disability Communication Access Board meeting today. The discussion was about waiving requirements for ADA for people with special needs. The concern is if the homes are going to be built, they have to be set forth for people with disabilities, certain disabilities. We have to prepare for a kupuna, people are getting the baby boomers when they get old and they get elderly and they get disabled. So we need to do the right thing right now and prepare. So my favorite quote I always say when I go to city council legislature is by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail by Benjamin Franklin. So let's make sure that the governor and his AD coordinator does do the right thing and work with Disability Communication Acts or other parties with our disabled community to make sure the homes that they build are accessible. Because when you go out there and try to rent a place or buy a place, it's not accessible for special needs people. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sakamoto. Is there anyone else? Questions for the congressman? If not, thank you, Mr. Taga. Let's move on to Seating and County. Is there a mayor's rep? I see Mr. Kawano on here.
Yes, Adriel, I'm on. I'm Andy Kawano, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services. Just some quick updates for June and July. In June, the mayor's budget was approved unanimously by council members. So we got all 9 council members supporting the budget. The operating budget was will be $3.4 billion for FY24. That's July 2023 through June 2024. The operating budget did not change much between what was proposed by mayor and adopted by council members. Our CIP budget will be $1.3 billion. The difference between what was proposed by the mayor and what was adopted by council members increased nearly $200 million. Most of that increase related to council member ads for affordable housing, homeless sheltering facilities, and homeless wraparound services. So, it hit the mayor's priority to focus on affordable housing and, the homeless population. The budget bill for FY24 included tax relief. Included with the bill was a one-time $350 credit for homeowners who live in their homes and have the homeowners exemption. The $350 credit is equivalent to an additional $100,000 in homeowners exemption. And this credit was provided the same across the board for homes of all values. So it has a larger impact for homes of lower value, under $1 million. And we thought, as an administration, that would be much more equitable and much more impactful for those that are struggling to get by. The folks in the multi-million-dollar homes, we feel that more likely than not, the struggle is not as significant as those under $1 million. Council members also modified residential A rates. As you know, under residential A, so these are homes at $1 million or more that are held as generally investment property, or homes that are not that do not have the homeowners exemption. The tier 1 tax rate was reduced from $4.50 per thousand in assessed valuation to $4, so a reduction of 50 cents. And with regard to homes more than $1 million, the effective rate was increased from $10.50 per thousand to $11.40 per thousand. So what that will do is, for homes close to $1 million, effectively provide up to a $500 reduction in taxes that we hope landlords would consider passing to tenants where they rent the property. And then those homes more than $1 million pay more tax, with the objective of offsetting the tax reductions for homes under $1 million. So the objective was to keep the tax program revenue neutral, but to benefit residential A class homes at the lower valuations. So that was put in place. With regard to going forward, just yesterday, the Mayor, Chair Waters, and Vice Chair Kiaina together participated in a signing ceremony for Bill 37, which is the bill for the low-income tax credit. And this bill really will go into effect in fiscal year 2025, starting in July 2024. What the bill will do is provide more of an income limit for low-income homeowners. So we'll go from $60,000 to $80,000. If the homeowner qualifies, we're hoping that a larger number of homeowners would apply for the low-income credit to help them, address, the higher valuations that we've had to encounter the last 2 years. And then lastly, Bill 40 was signed. That also benefits fiscal year 2025. Bill 40 will increase the homeowner's exemption to $120,000 from $100,000, so a $20,000 increase for homeowners that are under age 65, and for those 65 and older, the homeowner exemption amount increased from $140,000 to $160,000, $20,000 more. So we're continuing to consider more permanent tax relief, but we also have to consider the fact that valuation appear to be flattening out currently, based on the current economic conditions, and we have to factor in, the need to balance the budget to cover our expenses that have to be funded to continue to improve government core services. I'll leave it at that and hold for questions after Councilmember Kiaina speaks, if she's here tonight, or her representative.
Thank you. Let's go on to Councilwoman's.
Hello,
Go ahead.
aloha and good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Quano. I just wanted to add 2 points to his presentation regarding real property taxes. With regard to the residential A properties, actually a home up to $1.5 million is still going to be saving taxes every year because they would have had a reduction up to 1 million. And the reason the city council proposed that this occur is because many homes, because of rising values, were put into the residential A category. So I just wanted to say that. And with regard to bills 37 on the tax credit and bill 40 on homeowners exemption, Jaron from my office will be putting into the chat room the application for the tax credit as well as brochure and the contact information. I want to make sure that on the tax credit, we do everything possible because I've been getting a lot of inquiries. This is for a lot of kupuna who are on fixed incomes. So basically, by increasing it to 60 to 80,000, if you earn 80,000, your total house title holders, right, gross, you are capped at 3% of your taxes. So I've been getting a lot of inquiries, so I highly recommend that you get out the word to people who you think qualify. The deadline for that is October 2nd, and the deadline for home exemptions for those who have never sought it would be September 30th. Kaneohe District Park sinkhole, I wanted to thank the neighborhood board because I was frustrated with the pace of the Department of Parks and Rec and the Department of Design and Construction. I felt that they were only focusing on the sinkhole and not the loss of parking. And so one of your board members, Laura, joined us for a site visit. And I think it was important because shortly thereafter, because we said, what about the parking? They were able to determine a access route temporarily and of course cap the sinkhole. They found out it probably wasn't as worse as they thought it would be. And so I just wanted to mahalo you, and I'm not everywhere, so you guys need to tell me when something's taking so long. I do know that it's in the queue for a larger parking lot renovation, so we'll keep you posted about that. The rental relief program, recently on July 13th, so 60 new rental relief applications from the area were completed by the nonprofit team. The next time we need outreach Papua, I understand now you have a community engagement committee. I wasn't aware of it. So I will make sure on top of the board chair to also contact you guys to help get the word out. And then there's 2 town hall meetings that we're planning. One I'm planning. One is for an update of the dog park by Bayview Golf Course. It's actually completed. We're working on the easement and the realignment of the 7th hole. And so that will be in August. And I'm also trying to Papua Bayview because they have a lot of trespassers going onto their property, and that could jeopardize the opening of the dog park. The other town hall we're organizing in Waimanalo, and it goes to Mr. Sakamoto's point on invasive species. We are very, very worried about the spread of what's going on in Waimanalo to the rest of the windward side. So we are going to be holding a town hall with county, state, and federal officials with regard to what everyone's doing collectively to deal with the issue, not just on the windward side, but in the state of Hawaii. And that will include boots on the ground, actionables, so that communities know how to safeguard themselves. And so we will make sure that the agricultural community is involved with this, because what we're worried about, of course, is the transmittal of plants or soil that people get from Waimanalo and take to the yards in Kaneohe and the rest of the district. And lastly, while Bills 37 and 40, I was very pleased about its enactment into law. This is something we talked about last year, and you remember I was frustrated I couldn't get a hearing. We have a new budget chair in January, and now it's enacted into law, but it's not the end all. We know we have a lot of work ahead of us. And so, Jaron, if you could put in the box a report by our permitted interaction group on real property taxes that looks at a multitude of issues. Of course, the vacancy tax is still being explored, but one area that I'm looking at is with regard to those who rent their homes. I think we are looking at creating a separate classification of taxes for them so that we can incentivize them to rent it to local families. So anyone who rents it, their property out for more than 12 months, we will probably have a different tax rate so that they could, we could encourage them renting it to local families. And that's my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the board members?
Mr. Sakamoto.
By Mr. Sakamoto.
Yeah, concerning, I brought this up in the Mayor's Town Hall meeting on April 27th about the chemicals in our water supply. And these chemicals are coming from, like pots and pans and Teflon and whatnot. What efforts are going to be to ensure that our water is safe? And then all of these materials that we have that use this chemical on them, how will we dispose of them? Are we going to throw them in a landfill and it's going to contaminate our ground and eventually water? That's my big concern. And then we had a sewage release or whatever in Kailo Bay due to the sewage plant. And in the news, they said they're going to have a budget set aside to buy new equipment to process the sewage. I'm just worried about hurricanes and strong rain and whatnot overflowing, causing us to have another release in our beautiful ocean. And so that's my concern. And then the landfill. When are we going to get a new landfill? Because as you know, if we get a major storm, earthquake, or whatever, we're going to put the Opala or Waimanalo Gulch in Waianae's or Nanakulu west side is getting full. So we need to plan and prepare for another site to deal with this. And then Vice Chair, I reached out to you about the paratransit handy van. And I just found out that the city has bought 10 Nissan Rogue SUVs, but the problem is these vehicles are too high. They're 19 inches high from the ground to the entry of the van SUV. I mean, very dangerous for people who have mobility problems or have to reach up and get in. And then concerning the rear entry van, the Ford Transit, very dangerous to drop off on the roadway. I still haven't heard anything from administration about that, Director Morton. I hope you can get the information. And then the last thing for Andy Kawano is with the salary increases, where are we going to get this money? That was brought up on June 7th. Have you determined anything, how you get the money for the salary increases for the mayor and administration, council, as well as the other people, coroner and prosecutor, et cetera, et cetera. That's it. Thank you.
Director
Those
Kwan.
were a lot of questions. Chemicals in the water supply. With regard to materials that could release chemicals that could go in the water supply, keep in mind that the Board of Water Supply is very diligent, and they realize that there could be contaminants, and not just from materials, from trash that we throw away, solid waste, but there are other issues that we've been talking about, and I can assure you they have a testing program where they test all of the wells across the island, and I'm comfortable to say that should there be any problem with our drinking water, they will notify us and take appropriate actions immediately. With regard to managing the trash better so it doesn't release chemicals, the Board of Water Supply and the solid waste team under E&B, our Environmental Services Department, they work closely together. And, the E&D team with regard to solid waste continues to look at how to better address the collection and disposal. And, in some cases with H power, the burning of trash. So we put trash in, the right buckets in terms of treatment. And at the end of the day, where we have trash that cannot be burnt or should not be burnt, we have a contract with a vendor that will pick up that kind of material and address them so we don't pollute our island. So I can share that with you. But if you want more of a detailed report, we should probably have reps from either Board of Water Supply or Environmental Services to speak in front of us because they have more of the details. With regard to the sewage spill that happened in Kailua, I think there was a press release provided on what's being done. The administration, with council member support, have committed millions of dollars to continue the upgrade of the system, and and it's in progress, and we'll have an improved system using ultraviolet technology to treat sewage, before it goes out to the ocean, and have valves that control the flow so that we don't have an overflow and release of sewage into the ocean. With regard to the landfill issue, we are working currently with the military because they have some lands that are not above our aquifers. And as you all know, Board of Water Supply wants us to be very careful with the selection of the next landfill because they do not want the landfill above an aquifer or a well. And for the reasons that were brought up by Mr. Sakamoto on chemicals going into the water supply. So they want to be extra careful about that. And it's too early to say where we're going to move the landfill at this point, but the discussions and study and the analysis is ongoing, and we're currently working with the military hand in hand. I'm not going to cover the Nissan SUV issue. I don't know enough about it, but I think what we can do is send a request to DTS to respond to Mr. Sakamoto's concerns about the height of those vans and the concern on ingress and egress. So we'll do that. And then on the salary increases for the administration, we will be able to fund those salary increases through savings in each department relative to vacant positions that obviously we're not going to fill all at one time. It takes a village, and we're working diligently to fill vacancies, but we'll have savings, and we should be able to fill the salary increases required for the mayor's cabinet and the mayor and managing director. And we don't think we're going to have a problem doing that with regard to fiscal year 2024. And I'll stop there for either more questions or any needs for clarification.
It's Sakamoto again, Mr. Kawano. There were two, I would say, damaging articles, not articles, but newscasts on KH2 by Manolo Morales. One was on the 29th of June with the Fernandez couple. She's blind, he's in a wheelchair, have to walk 1 block away from the home to go to the handy van. And their handy van that used to go pick them up, the smaller van was no longer in service because they don't have enough vans, according to Director Morton. And then on July 6th, another story came out about Bert Cotto of Kaneohe. One day in a wheelchair, legally blind, and has to travel far from his home to the street because the handyman. So my concern is, why isn't the administration, for the record, did not buy some vans, small vans, that have a ramp to take these people from their home in a lane so they can get to their destination safely? The Oahu Transit mission statement is to provide adequate, dependable, safe, transportation, the city and county of Honolulu, the spirit of aloha. The 7 goals, the fourth goal of that 7 goals is to improve paratransit services. As a writer for 23 years for paratransit and an advocate for 13 years with the city's administration, uh, this is unjust. And I would say justice is blind. So we need to do more for our disabled community, with our elderly people who are going to be baby boomers who are going to get older and have disabilities where they can't drive anymore and need the services to go on medical appointments, grocery shopping, you name it. We need the service. We deserve better than that. I was determined to be blind. I didn't choose to be blind. I just came blind, but I use the services a lot when I can. And kudos for the people that run the service and give the supply, good support with the drivers and the people that allow transit does. But if they don't have the proper vehicles or the tools to do their job, then we're just going to go back to the same way. So please, I urge the administration to do the right thing and buy the correct vans for us to be picked up and for our wonderful people, our operators at Oahu Transit, who are the frontline people that know what they're doing. So speak to the drivers or operators. They know what's best for their services as well for the riders. That's my fully honoring. Listen to Oahu Transit and not just go off and buy any kind of vehicles without fan feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sakamoto. As I said, I will share your comments and concerns, or we will share it with DTS Director Morton's office, and he'll work with OTS and respond to your inquiries. We are not in any way shirking any responsibilities. We are looking for bans, but unfortunately, because of the fact that a lot of the manufacturers are dealing with supply chain issues, there are timing issues that are delaying, the deliveries. We are in procurement phase. I can say that because that's in my area, and we are actively working to buy vans. It's just that the vendors aren't able to deliver, and so we're looking for ways to be creative to get the vans that you're talking about to serve you better, and you deserve better service. So I'll leave it at that.
Laura Burbidge here. Can anybody give me an update on the stormwater utility and when those taxes are going to start for non-permeable land?
We don't have an exact date as to when, the taxes are going to start. There is concern about people, our residents still emerging from the pandemic and, dealing with inflation and the cost of living here. While inflation has subdued quite a bit, people are still struggling. So they know that, and while they have plans in place to resurrect the discussion and the rollout of the stormwater utility, I'm not aware of a timetable at this time, but they're going to start the outreach to the public to get input. I think it's going to start with that first, the outreach, and then there'll be communication of a plan and timeline at the right time. But I'm not aware of a target at this point in time to roll out the storm water utility.
And can we make sure that they attend the neighborhood board meetings? Thank you.
Yes, we will.
Hello, no, Kako. My name is Rafa. I just want to voice one of my concerns is talked about the pala. Quarry does not take mattresses, old mattresses. So people have been just buying it up, just, on a late at night on the side of the road. We had some mattresses thrown in here, here, and sometimes it's even thrown at here, here, because they said that they would no longer accept old springs, bed springs there at the dump, call it the Kailua dump. And talking about different places for landfills, maybe we should go back to the ancient time. Everybody, every ahapua, every moku takes care of their own opala. Maybe we should have landfills in every district, maybe central, leeward, windward, or maybe put it in each moku, pulau poko, wa'anai, rather than having all of the opala thrown right into wa'anai land, Hawaiian homelands. It's not fair. I think it's about time that we look at our old system. That might work. But you find out where they can dump the old mattresses, because I'm tired of seeing it thrown on the side of the roads. Mahalo.
Right. Any other questions? If not, thank you for the city report. Thank you for the report on tax breaks. I'm pretty sure residents appreciate that. And thank you, Councilmember Keanu, for acting on the district park. I think a lot of park users are appreciative of more access to parking there, especially for the summer activities. Okay, if nothing further, let's go on to our legislative representatives. Is Senator Kaneohe.
President, aloha, aloha, Chair, and members of the board and members of the community who are watching online and back at the cafeteria. I didn't realize you guys were back in person again, so I'll try and come in person to some of the later meetings. Three things I wanted to talk about as quick as I can. The first is that I still serve on two Red Hill working groups, and we recently met with the joint task force that is responsible for the Red Hill bulk fuel storage facility defueling operation. There's good news there. They do, if everything goes according to plan, they do hope to begin defueling around mid-October, which is ahead of their originally announced schedule. And once underway, about 99% of the fuel in the facility should be drained quite rapidly. Putting this out there to the board, their community engagement lead is an Army Brigadier General from Hawaii, a Kamehameha graduate whose mother was a neighbor of mine growing up on Waikalua Road and who actually taught in the Kupuna program here at Ben Parker. He would be willing to come and provide presentations. If the board is interested and requests, I'd be happy to connect the board with their office or facilitate that. We had a number of discussions on Red Hill and the spill when things were hot at the beginning of last year. And so now that we've finally come around to the point where they will begin defueling and then repurposing that facility, either through closure or some other new application. I did want to just flag that for the board. If you folks wanted an update from the Department of Defense before they get underway, we can help. I'd be happy to offer that. The second thing is actually that in response to something Mr. Sakamoto said, I was just informed by the Oahu Invasive Species Council that we have 8 active little fire ant sites in Kaneohe. There are almost 20 on the island of Oahu right now that are in different stages of monitoring. Either there's been an eradication of a reported site and they're just continuing to monitor, they've done treatment at the site and they're monitoring, or they are in the process of treating the sites. As Mr. Sakamoto mentioned, little fire ant is no small deal. I was alarmed by the number of reported sites in Kaneohe specifically, let alone on the Ko'olau coast. And so I have made inquiries, this is yesterday, to the State Department of Agriculture, who's essentially the lead on monitoring. for a briefing, and then we'll go forward from there. I'd be happy to report next month, or we might actually take more aggressive action. Before that, I put in the chat, the easiest way for information is to dial 643-PEST or go to 643pest.org. Peanut butter on a chopstick in the place where you think the ants might be is a real good way to test to see whether you got them or not. We do want to try and get the community's attention on this one. And then the last thing is on the governor's proclamation on housing. I did want to just briefly speak on it. It is a really big deal. The good things about the proclamation are that essentially they're trying to convene all of what the governor is trying to do is convene all of the relevant offices that have different building regulatory responsibilities to look at public and private housing projects that are proposed or that are already in the pipeline. And for 1 year, the governor is going to cram all of these different entities together, and they're going to try and work out an expedited process to get all of the appropriate approvals done as fast as possible. So they aren't necessarily trying to, I'm still going through the rules in the program. They aren't necessarily trying to cut corners. They're trying to identify priority types of projects and expedite all of the necessary approvals so that they can get those projects underway as quickly as possible. Two things really important to remember. The first is, and these are in the rules, which I can put a link to the proclamation, and right below the proclamation in the document are the rules to highlight, is that if the projects are offered, public or private projects, if they're offered for sale, they need to be offered to owner-occupied, they need to be only offered as owner-occupied units, which means it has to be your principal residence. You got to be a resident of the state of Hawaii in order to purchase. And if they're for rent, they need to be a minimum of 1 year offered lease, which means they have to be a long-term rental. There are a lot of questions. So the other part of it is that there are a lot of questions that are going to continue to be asked, because this is brand new, about how this will all be implemented. There's a 22-member board working group that essentially is going to be facilitating all of this. There's no sunshine law that applies. There will be a public meeting required for each of the projects, but the definition of what a public meeting is a little loose. So if there are questions or concerns, you can always request information from the governor's representative, or I'm happy to take those back and work on them. I'm still trying to go through the order itself and sort of understand what's intended and how it's going to be facilitated. I support the ends, still processing on the means. And so I'm highlighting that for the board's consideration. You can always, if there are concerns about projects in Kaneohe, the board could always convene its own, PIG and actively monitor, or you could ask for a briefing or information from the governor's office directly, or I would be happy to work with the board to facilitate whatever sort of information you might be interested in. But overall, we do have a really, really critical housing shortage, and this is a pretty aggressive step to try and address it. So thank you for your time.
Right, thank you, Senator. I have a representative from Lisa Kitty's office, or is the representative here? If not, Representative Marayoshi.
Hi, hello everyone. Pretty short today. I had Rep. Kitagawa told me she couldn't make it. She's preparing for another event. But she and I collaborated on a couple of events this month. The first was and thank you to Vice Chair for showing up to help as well, at the e-waste recycling event at Castle High School. So thank you to everyone who came by. Really successful event. I was a little alarmed almost at how many large flat screen TVs everyone had laying around their house ready to recycle. We also collected a about a 6x6 box of laptops. I mean, we had full-on copy machines coming in. So we had about 2 truckloads of e-waste that was recycled, a lot of clothes that was donated for reuse as well, eyeglasses, certain car batteries and lead acid batteries. So thank you to everyone who came by, and a big mahalo to all the volunteers too, who came by to help with that event. Rep Kitagawa and I also just wrapped up the school supply drive, hosted by Windward Mall. So thank you to Windward Mall too for hosting that every year, collecting school supplies and cash donations to supply the schools in the castle complex, and specifically the teachers with school supplies. I think everyone here probably knows I used to be a school teacher before middle school science, and I know school teachers spend so much of our own money on school supplies for our students. So this is just a little way to help out the teachers so they don't have to reach into their pockets as much. I do want to say thank you to Representative Esther Kiaina's office. When we approached her about the big hole in the district parks parking lot, she really jumped on it. And Esther, I was there when Esther pulled all the city guys together to go look at the sinkhole, and she really drove the reopening of that parking lot prior to soccer season, prior to a lot of the bigger events happening at the park. So really thank you to Esther for pushing that through and getting our parking lot back, and just kind of the usefulness of the park back as well. The last thing I wanted to address was the really poor condition of the road of Kamehameha Highway between basically the Memorial Park and Castle Junction. I've got a lot of emails recently about how bad that road is. People with neck issues being affected by how bumpy that road is. I did meet with DOT about a month and a half ago to pressure them to accelerate the pothole fillings on that road. But at this point, we all know, and I drive that thing every day too. It's like putting a pothole patch on another pothole patch that's already on another pothole patch. So we got all this. It's almost making it more bumpy. So I'm meeting with them next week to really demand that the full repaving of that road section is accomplished sooner rather than later. They had told me before that it was going to be repaved after Leaky Leaky Highway was done, but that's, Leaky Leaky Highway isn't scheduled to be done until, late fall of this year. So I don't think the community can wait that long. I just wanted the community to know that, we're listening and that we're going to be pushing for a full repave of that road soon.
Right, thank you, Representative Matayoshi. Respondent Representative Hatziburdik.
Aloha, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen really quick. And for anyone who's vision impaired, just to let you know, I do make a great effort to make sure that you don't get left behind on any parts. But if you ever feel like there might have been something up on the screen that I didn't say, please let me know and I will do better. So first of all, congratulations are in order to all the new and returning board members. I'm really sorry I can't be there in person with you today. I was planning on being there, but one of my beloved roommates just tested positive for COVID today, so I'm staying home to keep everybody safe. So a little bit about where we're at in the legislature right now. We just finished the legislative session. We're kind of shifting gears towards, this is now the executive branch of government's time to shine, the governor. So he just did his full veto review session. And now the legislature is kind of working on bills for next year. So if you have any bill ideas, please reach out to any one of us, let us know. The governor has signed 257 bills into law. 5 became law without his signature, and he vetoed 13 bills, one of which we overrode the veto a lot earlier in session. It kind of happened before session ended. And one of the bills that we did pass that I forget who it was that asked about it, but one of the bills that passed was SB 671, which takes naloxone off of the schedule, the drug schedule. So it decriminalizes it. Essentially, it is now legal and safe for everybody to have it. So this is the drug that reverses the effects of fentanyl. And the legislature even went a step further and provided funding to the Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center to provide Narcan for any resident who wants it. You can just go to hhrc.org/naloxone and order some. It'll be delivered to your door. This is important because it's not just drug addicts who get hit with fentanyl, right? It's people who might have thought they were taking a different drug or even cannabis and it's laced with it. It's people who didn't realize they were being drugged with it. Maybe instead of roofies, it's going into their drink. This is something that affects all of us. And I think we should all just have it in our house in case, you know, somebody knocks on our door and somebody's having a crisis outside. Having this in every office, in every bar, in every restaurant, in every household will save lives. So I'm glad you asked about that. Another couple of bills on the governor's veto list that were a little bit concerning to me was HB 153. I respectfully disagreed with his reasons for vetoing this bill. It's penalties for violating the state water code. He claimed that a lot of our affordable housing projects are in violation of the state water code. And I think that if that's true, I think we need to do a lot better about water reuse. It's a finite resource. We don't have that much to go on. So we need to be better at conserving and reusing our water. One of the vetoed bills that he had on his list that I did agree with was SB 1518. It granted the DOE some exemptions from the state procurement code. I actually voted against that bill because it had exemptions from the procurement code for textbooks, which I think should be made in full public sunshine. He also vetoed several line items in the budgets. This made the budget a little bit more palatable for me. I think a lot of you might remember that I voted against the budget as well because it was problematic in a lot of ways. However, some of the notable line item vetoes were like $5 million for forestry management. I was hoping he would have left that back in. Same with the state park improvements. I'm sure a lot of you would like more toilet paper in your state parks. Some of the ones that I agreed with him on were the 50 million he asked for the first responder tech campus. A lot of people were calling that Cop City. It was a very controversial project, as well as 88.8 million for the Wahiwa irrigation system. One of the really questionable ones he vetoed was 120 million for teacher housing. Although I will caveat that by saying he did leave 50 million in there. It was just that he didn't think they could spend the whole 170 million that we budgeted in the time allotted. So he put the rest of that back into the general fund and just left the 50 million to start with. We had a majority caucus. All the House Democrats met last week to discuss whether any of these rise to the level of a veto override. The answer was no, and we're not going to have any kind of a special session, not even for the governor's executive order that Senator Kaneohe was talking about. I am a member of the Majority Policy Committee, so I'll be working in the interim with the rest of the Democrats to decide what are the issues that we're going to be putting at the forefront of our package and really pushing for this session. So I'm going to be looking towards the results of my survey. Homelessness, roads and traffic, housing and crime rose to the top, but also cost of living, taxes, climate and environment are also really important. And I will leave you with that. I'll leave you on this note. Donald Sakamoto asked about the wastewater treatment sewage spills. You can sign up for advisory notifications from the DOH. If you reach out to my office, I will send you the link to sign up for that directly, or I can help you sign up for that as well. And I'm probably over time, sorry.
Question.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the legislators? Mr. Sakamoto, you have a question?
Question, Mr. Sakamoto.
Go ahead.
Okay, my concern is I brought this up to Representative Kitagawa at another event. When is the House going to have town hall meetings in our district as well as the Senate, so we can express our concerns for next year's legislature what we want? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Donald. We'll take that into consideration. I think we were looking for a location. I didn't actually realize that we were back in person too at Ben Parker. I had heard that it was a little tough to get the Ben Parker cafeteria lately, so we just needed to find a good location. But if they're letting you guys in, I think they should let us in too. So we'll look into that.
Crossing my fingers.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, senators, representatives, for being here and listening to the resident concerns. We'll move on to community organizations. Wind River Community College.
Aloha, Chair Lam. Aloha, Mai Kako. I have a few things. I wanted to follow up on Representative Hussey Burdick's Narcan bill that she spoke about and thank very much our legislators for getting that through. We had done Narcan training on our campus. We wanted to robustly implement having Narcan available in case there was an overdose on campus. And we had gotten pushback from University of Hawaii Legal due to the legality status of naloxone. So with that bill, we will now have Narcan available and staff trained in every major building on our campus. My cousin was saved twice by Narcan when he overdosed and is productive and hardworking citizen. And this saves the lives of our families and community members. So I'm very thankful for that bill. And we're doing our best at the college. I have 3 items to share today very quickly. The first is to remind if anyone knows a graduating senior this past spring, we have our Ho'ole tuition guarantee where tuition won't be a barrier for anyone at Windward Community College. We'll help them apply for financial aid, and if financial aid doesn't cover their tuition, we'll find a scholarship to cover it. So everyone should be able to come without tuition holding them back. My second is we are opening our Hawaii Conservatory for the Performing Arts. It's a 1-year certificate in theater arts, and it transfers fully both within the UH system, but we have articulations both nationally and internationally with acting schools, including East 15 in London, where every year in their class of 24 highly competitive spots, we've had a Windward Community College student be accepted. And currently our students for the Hawaii Conservatory for the Performing Arts are over in London right now, practicing their craft in Stratford-on-Avon, home of the Bard. So it's a real exciting program that we now have a degree attached with. And my final piece is on middle college. We are opening the first middle college in the state of Hawaii. Middle college is having high school students primarily on the college campus, taking college courses as well as their high school courses, and being able to access all of the robust resources of the college. We'll have students primarily from Waimanalo and Kailua through a partnership with Kailua High School. They'll be on our campus Monday through Thursday. They've got dedicated facilities, and they will be completing a certificate in Hawaiian Knowledge Innovation, which combines Hawaiian studies, technology, social media awareness, website design, and business. So they can become social entrepreneurs. So we're really excited about that. We're thankful for Purple Maia and Kailua High School for their support. It's a partnership between the 3 of our groups to make this happen for our first class of 14 students. We're limited in the number because that's how many a van can hold, and we only have access to 1 van, but hoping to keep growing that initiative as well. It's a best practice across the continent, just hasn't been done here in Hawaii before. That's my report. Mahalo. Thank you guys so much for all your work.
Thank you.
Big Chancellor, any questions for the Chancellor? That much appreciate what you do for our local residents getting started on the college track. Did say I allow Hawaii Bicycle League 1 minute to for their resident concern or community concern. Go ahead, Hawaii Bicycle League.
Aloha, Vice Chair, Board, and members of the community. My name is Lauren. I am the volunteer coordinator for Hawaii Bicycling League. Just a quick sum up. I'm going to speak really fast. Apologies, just so I can be under a minute. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We've been around since 1975 with the mission to make Hawaii a cycling paradise. So we want to enable more people to ride bikes for health, recreation, and transportation by doing advocacy, education, and events. We're also well known as our Bike Ed Hawaii program, which has taught bike safety to more than 100,000 fourth graders since 1989. I am here to present our 40th annual Honolulu Century Ride. I've added our flyer into the chat if you'd like to follow along. So the Honolulu Century Ride is one of our biggest bike fundraisers throughout the year. It begins at 6:15 a.m. at Kapiolani Park and ends by 5 p.m. However, most riders do finish early. We are expecting about 1,300 participants that ride as much as 100 miles from Kapiolani Park to Swansea Beach Park and back. This is a ride, not a race. So there is options to ride 5 miles, 25 miles, 50 miles, or even 75. Because this is a ride and not a race, all roads do remain open and participants are instructed to follow all traffic laws. The purpose of this event is to promote bike safety awareness and encourage all users of the road to share the road with aloha while providing a fun bike ride with safety and support. The state law requires a motor vehicle to give a minimum 3 feet of space when passing a bicyclist, so please drive with aloha. Some safety measures in traffic, we will have event signage, event course marshals, and HPD special duty officers at the listed locations below. We'll also have some lane coning going around Kahekili Highway. And then also stated in the flyer is going to be the directions in which roads we'll be using, but I will leave that to the flyer just so I can be under a minute. But any questions, I am happy to answer.
Hi, Laura Burbage here. What was the date again?
It'll be Sunday, September 24th. Apologies, I didn't state the date before. Thank you for asking.
And I'm assuming that electric bikes are a no-go.
Electric bikes are allowed. I believe we do not allow class 3 e-bikes, but e-bikes are allowed as long as the riders know how to ride it with safety and are aware of their surroundings at all times and follow the laws.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Let's go on to board business. On the agenda items, we have 2 items for board business. First is a motion to include the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the monthly board meeting. I guess we can either.
Sakamoto motions to accept the Pledge of Allegiance to be said at our meetings.
Okay, Mr. Sacco makes a motion to include the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the monthly board meetings. Is there a second?
Second.
Here, a second. Any discussion? Is that a hand up, Mr. Carsonson, or?
My question is to Spencer. Spencer, are you aware of any other boards doing this?
Yeah, I think there's 1 or 2, and I think there's also one that has like Boy Scouts come and get the flags as well.
So as far as you're concerned, there's no legal or any difference politically?
Just one thing, I started this neighborhood board when I was a legal resident. I was not yet a citizen. There is no bar. You only have to be a resident to be a neighborhood board member and to join in the process. And for that reason, I would not support the Pledge of Allegiance.
I don't think it's necessary. It's part of the meeting without Pledge of Allegiance. I don't necessarily think that
Could you, Mr. Quidovich, could you say that more directly into the mic? I didn't hear the whole comment.
I don't think it's necessary to do the Pledge of Allegiance prior to starting this meeting without doing that. It's not really necessary to have to.
I would.
Sakamoto here. Basically, the city council does a Pledge of Allegiance as well as the Lions Club. So it's I remember doing it when I was in schools. I support it. Since I'm down here regarding the Pledge of Allegiance, seeding the patriotic, but I don't feel like it's necessary. This group, this time, it's not necessary.
Neil Flypal here. I would say we're all civically minded by being here. And I'm extremely patriotic as well. Not believe that it is necessary given that we are here.
Kaneohe Shizuma, just wanted to speak on the concerns that typically come up with the Pledge of Allegiance with, the references to religion. And for that reason alone, I'll probably be voting against this.
Yeah, I would just like to add that I think I agree with my colleagues here in that we are exceedingly patriotic. We are providing, we're volunteering to be on the board. I don't think it's necessary. We have all signed the oath that, we're agreeing to uphold the Constitution and the laws of our state. And if we're going to entertain doing the pledge before every meeting, then I would say that we should also do Hawaii Honolulu because that is our home. We're in Hawaii and we should honor that as well.
Is that a motion to add Hawaii Pono'i to our opening?
I mean, I would motion to call the question, or I would ask to call the question on the motion that's on the table.
Okay, it's call the question. Question is for the motion to add the Pledge of Allegiance to the beginning of the monthly board meeting. Any objections?
Kaneohe Shizuma, I object.
Any approve? Well, let me walk that back. There is objection, so let's take a vote on that. I cannot see the votes. So do we need a roll call vote or can we just have someone count the votes for me here?
Yeah, Vice Chair Lam, I'll go ahead and just do a roll call vote. Elena Bryant.
So just to get clarity, the motion on the table is to do the Pledge of Allegiance at the opening of the meeting. Is that correct?
I guess, yeah. I had the question.
Sorry, I
for you,
didn't hear a second, so I'm just trying to confirm where we're at.
Yes, Donald Sakamoto moved and Laura Burgess seconded. And the motion is to do the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the meeting. So if you say yes, that means you want to do the pledge.
Then I vote aye. Thank you.
Okay, Laura Burbidge. Gail Parsons. Cecile Downing. No. Neil Saito.
No.
Brendan Kinoshita, absent. Adriel Lam.
Yes.
Greg. Paul. Mo Radke, absent. Donald Sakamoto. Yes. Ollie Sevier.
No.
And Keone Shizuma.
Oh.
I have 3 in favor, 6 opposed, and 1 abstention.
Okay. Thanks. Motion is failed. Let's move on to next item of business is the approval of regular meeting minutes. We have the February 2023 meeting minutes. Since we didn't have quorum for March, April, or May, we have a memorandum for record. I don't know if you had a chance to review any of them, but is there a motion to approve the minutes and the memorandums for record?
So moved.
And seconded.
Second.
Okay, motion is moved and seconded. Any objections? If there are no objections,
Chair.
go ahead.
Sakamoto here.
Mr.
Concerning the
Sakamoto.
minutes, you brought this up before with our minutes, and I looked at the Sunshine Law video that I watched, and it says to put the comments from the representatives in the minutes. In the future, would like to have the bullet points to reflect the question asked by the public as well as the board. to be put in the minutes for future. But I approve the minutes as is.
Okay,
I move.
got your comment for to add comments from the questions and the answers. Before they're up for approval, we do send them out for members of the board to make their adjustments. So hope you can catch those at that time. All right, so any objections for approval of the February 20 minutes and the memorandum for action for March, April, and May? If no objections, then the minutes and memorandums for record are approved. Next item on agenda is our board committee reports and assignments. Excuse me. I guess we have members who have signed up for different committees. I'll start with the first item. Are there any attended meeting reports that board members can provide?
I have a committee update. Is that what
Go
we're
ahead.
asking?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Hiking Stairs Committee update. We have met 7 times as an action group to focus on trespassing in Haikipuu Valley. Our next meeting is August 10th at 6:30 p.m. Myself and a team of neighbors have been canvassing to find out the extent of trespassing. We have visited 181 homes, and so far 13 people, in response to the question, do you experience trespassing at your home? 13 people have said yes. So that is, of those that we have visited, that's the extent of the problem. And those that live near gates, we have tried to get extra fencing. I met with HPD, Major Sorio. He agreed that we can put up cameras on homeowner properties and that we can help establish a chain of custody, and HPD can use that camera footage to help prosecute trespassers. And so if anybody wants a camera, it's a very inexpensive pig cam, and I have some that I can put up for you. So please, if you would like a camera at your home, let me know. We also have a volunteer who's going to put up new signage letting would-be trespassers know that the neighborhood is under camera watch. HPD's also agreed that we can restart the neighborhood watch patrol that we used to do back in the day. And so we'll be getting some t-shirts for those people who want to do a neighborhood walkabout, just letting trespassers know that we care about our neighborhood. So please, hsevier@hawaii.edu, reach out to me if you would like a camera or a neighborhood watch t-shirt. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Holly.
Chair, Mr. Sakamoto here.
Okay,
I'd like to give a transportation report, actually 2 reports. First is transportation. I'd like to let the board know and everybody else know that Mr. Ejiro Lamb was at the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting this past month, I believe, and he was nominated and he won the vice chairship for a citizen advisory committee. I was at the meeting as another participant in my group, and he had a large amount of people from neighborhood board and other agencies voted for him. So congratulations to him as a vice chair. Concerned HPD, Major Sorio, I just learned not too long ago that he was transferred out of District 4 to do some other duties. The acting officer or person in charge is former Lieutenant Denise Wakabashi. Now she's acting captain for District 4, while the major is transitioning out to other duties. Hopefully he'll be back again and we'll have our major back because there's a shortage of officers as it relates. But that's all I have to report. Thank you.
I can update that a little bit for the board. Major will be returning to Kaneohe exclusively as of the mid-August. He is on loan at this time. We clarified that this evening when it came in. Thank you.
This is Elena Bryan. I can give an update on the Kaneohe Bay Regional Council. At our last meeting, the council voted unanimously to write a letter to Chair Dawn Chang, who is chair of the Department of Land and Natural Resources, to call for regulations ending the commercial harvesting of aquatic marine life. As for our newer members, Kaneohe Bay is a hotspot for commercial aquarium collection and has been in an issue for our community for many years now. Our neighborhood board was the first neighborhood board to pass a resolution calling for a legislative ban of commercial aquarium collection, and then multiple neighborhood boards followed and adopted similar resolutions, as did many organizations in our community, the 46 mokus of the Aha Moku, as well as multiple civic clubs. And so, unfortunately, this past legislative session, the bill calling for a total ban on collection in the state of Hawaii did not pass. And so there are some organizations that are reaching out to DLNR to enact administrative rules that would ban a commercial aquarium collection. And so the Kaneohe Bay Regional Council joined those groups and asked Church Hang to do that. And given that our board has been at the forefront of this issue for many years now, I know we've tried to put on the agenda, but haven't had quorum. But with our new members in place, I'm hoping that it's something that the board can consider at our next meeting. Interrupting. So.
I would just like to add to a report that this 2 weeks ago was our first Kaneohe Bay Watch. I was there at the pier. They did make some citations. Of course, she was in integrity and something else to do the rest of the authors there. But the Baywatch has been really good with the illegal commercial businesses in Kaneohe Bay. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank
Yes, that's another issue that the council is extremely concerned about, is regulating unpermitted commercial activity in the Bay. And the council, well, the community actually led the charge at getting HB 1134 passed this past legislative session that does give the department additional tools to enforce, illegal commercial activity. And so that's something that the council is very supportive of and continues to work with the community to find a solution to what has become rampant illegal commercial use of our bay. Our next meeting is on August 24th. The community is welcome to join. I believe the link is posted on the DLNR website, but feel free to reach out to me if you need that. I can go ahead and refer it.
Where is this meeting?
So the council meeting starts at 6 p.m. and it is on Zoom and also at the Pu'ala Hawaiian Civic Club office, which is the Kaneohe. There's a hybrid option in person.
Thank you, Lena. Any other mini reports? Just thanks, Mr. Saka, for mentioning the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization. It's a continuous monthly meeting about transportation projects that integrate, state, federal funding for priorities around the island. So not much that impacted Kaneohe per se in the last approval, but there was a lot of extra funding that came in. So we did have some crosswalk projects that went from, I think it's like 5 million to 95 million, just because they added a lot more projects to the list on that. So we'll keep you updated on what's going on with that. If there's no other further meeting reports, any discussions on the committees, comments out there? Here's some of that comments.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Chair, Mr. Sakamoto, I had some concerns about the Kaneohe Community Gardens. I think we should relook at that for our next meeting. We have people come out for that community. I think there's things going on that the community needs to know and the board needs to know about this, since we supported them. And one announcement in July 26, 1990, the ADA law was passed. It's going to be celebrating 33 years of the ADA.
we are still some of us are still experiencing the same things back then that the law was correct. So we have to educate our government officials, our leaders, other people about the ADA because it's the law. As well as for me, it makes a big difference because as a disabled person, I advocate for the disabled. I speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. And I try to advocate for better transportation as well as other things through the legislature and to the city council. Kudos for them for doing what they can, but more emphasis has to be done for the ADA, especially when I have to deal with websites, documents, PowerPoint presentations being accessible for me. So I just want to let everybody know the ADA law is coming up soon. We should be glad we have. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Sakamoto. Right, so let's go on to announcements. Next regular board meeting is Thursday, August 17th at 7 p.m. at Ben Parker. I just want to thank everyone here for your patience today. My apologies with my coughing here. It's a little bit of bronchitis, but I figure I should be showing up there and seeing everybody.
Correction, sir, it's 6:30. That's it. 6:30.
Oh,
Our meeting will
6:30.
be 6:30.
That's correct. We moved the meeting up to 6:30, so I'll change that in the agenda and for the minutes. But that concludes our meeting, or there's no other business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Donald Sakamoto motions.
There's a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Right. Any objections? No objections, then the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.